Hey there, it's Mitch Goldberg. You're listening and watching Be the Boss of Your Money. So, riddle me this. How do you know when the Federal Reserve is done raising interest rates? The answer is simple. When you see inflation go down a lot more than it is now. Other than that, Wall Street, investors, financial media is just playing, they're just playing a silly little parlor game to have something to talk about. And everyone says the same thing. Well, this, and that, but this, and that. And it just leaves you more and more confused. And you know what the problem is with the confusion, the uncertainty of what the Fed's doing, if we go into a recession? You know what the real problem here is? It's making it harder for many people. I'm not saying you specifically, but it makes it harder for people to stick with their plan. I know my plans when that time in my life comes, when I need to start converting my investments into cash to pay for my living expenses down the road. I know that day is a long time in the future. But there's enough going on between the Federal Reserve, every economic statistic. We hang on to every economic statistic for dear life. Like, people think we're going to have this one stat. Oh, if the labor numbers come in weaker, then maybe. If the next inflation number comes in weaker, then maybe. If this number, the supply management numbers, the manufacturing numbers, there is no one magical silver bullet, some magical economic statistic that the Fed's going to say, wow, I could have had a V8, or wow, I should have known. That's the one. That now they're going to cut rates and the market's going to go right back up. The economy's fine, and we're going to live happily ever after. There's no such thing. Bear markets, getting to them, getting through them, it's a painstaking process. It takes years. It could grind you. Think about all the other past bear markets and slow markets. They grind you. They wear you down. And my thing is, I'm not saying close your eyes to the news. I myself am a news junkie. Financial news, economic news, political news. I am a news junkie. I absorb news. I consume news like I get paid to do it. In a way, I guess I do get paid to do it. But I do all of this to help further reinstill my sense of strength, of optimism, to allow me to hang on to my financial plans, my investment plans for the long term, because it's long-term thinking that gets you through this. And I do that with my clients, which, by the way, if you don't have a long-term investment plan and financial plan that's right for you, that would be a pretty good reason to reach out to me. And you can learn more about me at clientfirststrategy.com. And we can always schedule a one-on-one, talk a little bit. It's always worth my time to speak with you. And I'm sure it's worth your time to spend a few minutes with me to see if there are things that you need to be doing, should be doing, and could be doing to help further your advancement in your future retirement. How about that? So today we have the Fed news out. The Federal Reserve raised rates as expected. And nobody's satisfied. Let's talk about why. Let's run the quick intro, and we're going to get into this. Here we go. Thank you so much for joining me. You're watching Be the Boss of Your Money. We're just getting started here, so you haven't missed anything. If you have any questions about personal finance, I am a personal finance expert. You have any questions about personal finance, investing, the content that we're talking about now, please hit me up in the comments. I love hearing from you. It's the best part about doing this. If you have words of wisdom to share, words of encouragement, that is always very much appreciated. Or just share with me your favorite emoji, and certainly give us a thumbs up. That helps spread the good word and all the algorithms, and helps your connections, friends, followers see the work we're doing here, and then maybe they'll click on the show and say, wow, this is something I should watch. And if you're just joining us now in the replay, same, just I'll see it. Just, hit me up like you're watching this in the live, and I'll see your questions, comments, likes, thoughts, whatever. And I love that, and I'll get back to you, and thank you very much. And it helps support the work we do, okay? Because the more viewers you have, the better off we're going to be. And we like to spread a good message of positivity, optimism. And it's easy to be optimistic when you know that you're doing the right things with your future, with your money. It's easy to be optimistic. The question is, do you know what the right things are with your money? The question is, do you know what to pay attention to and what not to pay attention to? So we're going to talk about things to pay attention to. Please pay attention to your credit score. If you have not yet done so this year, go to freecreditreport.com or some other websites. Get your free credit report for all three of the major reporting agencies, the credit rating agencies that track you. These are also the agencies that help vendors, sellers of credit, approve you for loans. And then after that, if you don't have any plans on taking out new debt or new loans, you can go to each of the three rating agencies, the credit reporting agencies. You can opt out. You can opt out of new credit card offers and other offers of credit. You don't need to get those things in the mail or email. You want to get rid of those. You could also freeze your credit. Freezing your credit is a very safe thing to do. It does not hurt your credit score. And while you're paying down your debts, you still continue to build up your credit score. It's just that when you freeze your credit, you're just basically making it virtually impossible for anyone else to borrow in your name. Okay? Credit theft, identity theft. It's a good thing to do. You can always lift it. It's not hard to lift it. You can do it right away and apply for your mortgage or your auto loan or what have you. And again, that does not hurt your credit score. I think if it was up to me, it would help your credit score because it would show how responsible you are. But that's one thing you could do. What about, I'm just letting you know, I have clients and I'm doing the financial plans for them. I'm doing these plans and they're like, I had all this money. Why is my rate of success on your Money Guide Pro software only giving me like a 65% chance of success, of not running out of money before I die based on the lifestyle that I want to live? I'll tell you why. Because all that money in your retirement plan, it's taxable. So about a third of your money of that money, maybe even a little bit more, it's just going to taxes. So maybe you should consider a Roth 401k or a Roth simple IRA or a Roth SEP IRA or just a Roth IRA. Maybe you could consider flipping some of your, converting some of your IRAs into a Roth IRA and pay the taxes now. Even if you're in a lower tax bracket, presumably the pot of money is going to be much bigger, so you're still better off doing that. But these are the things to focus on. Do you know what money you have coming in and what money you have going out? Most people know the exact amount of money they have coming in. They get stuck when they try to figure out what's going out. So they do this weird thing where they start writing down all the little expenses, haircuts, Netflix, Optimum, whatever cable company you use in your area, car, you write down the gas, I'm going to buy a new pair of glasses. Like they write down all this stuff. Look, don't do that. Just take a look at your last 6 months of your checking account statements. What comes in, what goes out, what's left over at the end of each month. And from there, you could decide, I want to save more each month, or I can spend more each month. Okay? You could do that. That is a much better way to go than to try to add every single possible expense you could have. Well, this month I might get a haircut. Maybe next month I won't get a haircut. That's not what it's about. And if that's the kind of game you're playing with yourself, you're never going to finish a budget. You're never going to get to it. I know you're not, because I've seen it a million times. It's not really possible to even know these things. You think you have so much control over your life, right? So these are the things you should focus on. However, let's talk about the Fed. They did raise rates. It is a huge story. It's the story of the day. Fed raised rates 0.25%. So now the federal funds rate is in a range of 5% to 5.25%. It's the 10th time in the last year and 2 months that the Federal Reserve raised rates. They started in March of 2022. They went from 0 to 5 to 5.25. Originally, the range was 0 to 0, from 0 to 0.25. It's always a range of a 25 basis points or 0.25%, by the way. It's not the exact amount. So they raised the federal funds rate. And that in turn affects other rates. But if you're worried about the economy slowing down or recession, as many market participants are, you can understand why long-term rates are going down. And that's why we have an inverted yield curve. Short-term rates are higher than long-term rates. However, having said that, the statement from the Federal Reserve after Powell's speech, Chairman Powell's speech, he gives his thoughts. And at first, people were excited. It's like he said, we will now consider the latent effects of the interest rate increases that we've done so far and see how they continue to impact the economy. But we are data dependent, and we might raise next month, we might not. So people are just more confused. It's not so much that the people are confused. I think investors are disappointed. They just get themselves all bulled up into thinking that the Fed's going to see this magical economic statistic and they're going to go, oh, that's it. We're done raising rates. We're going to cut rates by the end of the year. If you're looking for signs that are so clear, I'm sorry to disappoint you. You're not going to see them. And we never see them. We've never, I've seen my share of cycles. We never get perfectly clear cycles and announcements or statistics that say, here's where we're going next. Here's what's going to happen. It's a gradual process that wears you down while you wait. And this is what I'm saying. If you're going to be data dependent like the Federal Reserve, because they always say we're data dependent, that means they could raise rates at any time. So even if the Fed says they're done raising rates now, but we are data dependent, so we could raise them next month too. And you're like, well, what the hell that doesn't mean anything. The Fed will be done when inflation goes down meaningfully. A lot more. Substantially more. Much lower interest rate, much lower inflation rate. How else can I say it? So until then, all bets are off. The Fed could keep raising rates, or it might not because it's data dependent. Does that help you? No. Are you going to remember what the market did today? 10 years from today? No. But you will feel the effects of your smart personal financial decisions going forward. And I just want to reinforce that the Fed said, hey, we're going to probably pause. Probably. Maybe. Could be. We'll see. Means nothing. Let's take a look at how the overall market did today. Let's do a little share screen. We just got some really big news, by the way. Just like huge news just came across the tape. This is breaking. PacWest, a large regional bank that's been trading lower. The stock's been going down, sucked up into that negative vortex of Silicon Valley Bank, First Republic, Signature. PacWest falls 40% after hours on report bank is weighing a sale. Let me dissect that. I just saw the headline just now. So I'm seeing this headline in real time, just like you. Let me dissect this. If there's a sale of the company, a rescue package, shareholders get wiped out. Shareholders are the lowest of the low on the corporate structure ladder. Bondholders win, then preferreds, okay, and then common stock, if there's anything left. And generally speaking, there isn't. The only thing that a bank is worth is confidence. We have a lot of confidence in JP Morgan. The bank is worth a lot. We don't have confidence in Pacific West, PacWest. The bank is not worth anything. That's the way confidence works. So we saw Silicon Valley Bank collapse. We talked all about that. And then on Sunday night, we saw First Republic had taken over what was left of it after it was seized by regulators. It was taken over by JP Morgan. And then Jamie Dimon, CEO, the vaunted CEO of JP Morgan, says, we're done with this part of the banking crisis. And everybody the next day said, we ain't done by a long shot. And by the way, you remember what I said with First Republic? I said, this is not for you unless you want your money to go to zero. Okay. This First Republic opened today. It's now a penny stock, a couple pennies a share, because when they get rescued, part of this is wiping out shareholders. Okay. It's about rescuing the bank, the depositors, and protecting the banking system. You're a shareholder. You took the chance. Shame on you if you didn't know. This is one problem with individual stocks, which is why for a lot of you, individual stocks are not really the right thing, even if you don't know it. But, you want to find out what's the right thing for you? You could call me and ask, clientforstrategy.com. Look me up, hook me up. We'll take a look. We'll talk. We'll have a conversation about this. But PacWest falls 40% after hours. They just cannot get their stuff together, and it looks like they have to sell. Now, it might not be a rescue package. If it's a rescue package, shareholders wipe that. If it's not a rescue package, maybe there's something left for shareholders. But if they're already talking about being bought out, because they have to be bought out, right? If they're talking about it, and the stock is down 40% after market trading, you can bet your bottom dollar that no one's going to buy it and pay for the stock. Because any bank who could buy it will just say, well, wait till it goes to zero, or I'll buy it, but I want it for zero. Let the regulators take it then if you don't want it, if you don't want to sell. That's what's going to happen. Let's take a look at some semiconductor stocks. Put myself up in the corner. AMD, okay, that's aftermarket trading, down 12 cents. But during the regular session today, it was down over $8, down over 9% today. Qualcomm came out with numbers today. So the stock is down $5 in aftermarket trading, and it was down $3 and change yesterday. So it's down a little over $8 between today and the aftermarket trading. NVIDIA was down $4, but down 1.45%, down 24 cents in aftermarket trading. These are the premier semiconductor companies right now. Qualcomm, AMD, and NVIDIA. And they tell you a story that, they're worried about a slowdown, right? And then we take a look at how the U.S. markets did, and I'll just skip right to oil. Look at this. Oil was down 5% today. Okay. See that? Oil is down 5%. $68 a barrel. Holy smokes. Now, if you recall, after Silicon Valley, we covered this. When Silicon Valley Bank blew up, oil went down to like 66 a barrel. OPEC, led by Saudi Arabia, says we're cutting production. Oil goes right up to like 83 a barrel, and it stays there. And I said right in the show, I don't think it's going any higher. There was a parade of talking head strategists, investment gurus saying, yeah, now we think oil could go to like 150, 125, 200. They're stepping over each other to make bolder and bolder calls on how high oil could go up. But if you're thinking we're going into recession or even a slowdown, the world is awash in oil. And here you see it now back down to $68, below its trading range of 72 to 82. 68. You should see prices at the pump come down rapidly by the weekend. I mean, rapidly. So there you go with that. Other news, the Dow was down 270 today after being down over 300 yesterday. NASDAQ was down today, 55 points. It's about 0.5%. S&P was down 28 points. It's about 0.7%. 10-year yield down to 3.339. So yields are down. And as a result, you should start to see mortgage rates come down a little bit. Mortgage rates, people are very sensitive to mortgage rates. So I think here's the thing with mortgages. Banks that make conforming mortgages should be okay. It's the jumbo mortgages that are really tough to come by, because when banks pull back on lending, they could pull back on jumbo mortgages because it's the jumbo mortgages that they like to keep on their balance sheet because they make more money from those. But I think they're pulling back on credit. Banks are pulling back on lending in all facets, all industries. That's another reason why we could see a slowing economy, and it's happening. So it's not like a matter of if and when. It's happening, and it's happening now. So that's the story. I think the Federal Reserve news is a big deal, raising rates a quarter point, and people not really knowing if the Fed's going to keep raising or not because no one's giving you a finishing thought. It's like, oh, we think rates could go down because the economy is slowing down, but we're not out of the woods yet. I hate that expression. We're not out of the woods yet. So this way, if rates go down, you're right. But if rates go back up, you're right. You want your cake and eat it too. So you say, we're not out of the woods yet. So if the opposite thing happens from your call, you get to say, I did say we're not out of the woods yet. I think it's kind of wimpy. And I think it just leaves people confused. And like I said at the top of the show, don't pay attention to this stuff. Focus on you. You need to get through many, many years. Even if you're retired, you still have to get through many, many years, right? So let's focus on what's important, your personal finance. The rest of this stuff will sort itself out, and you'll be fine. I'm sure if Warren Buffett was sitting with me, he would probably tell you the same exact thing. Chevron stock, just want to take a look at that at Chevron, 156. I mean, weren't people just all over CNBC a few weeks ago saying, now it's going up? We like Chevron. We like the oil stocks. Oil stocks have been getting slammed. But whenever oil goes up, that's when the bulls come out. Oh, we're bullish. It's going up. When the bears come out, then the bears says, oh, it's going lower. And it's like they're playing ping pong with the ball back and forth, back and forth. It's not doing anything. All right. I've got to go to a wonderful event supporting a special cause, ACLD. It's Poker for a Purpose tonight. ACLD is an association. It's an agency. They have 60 semi-group homes and provide tons and tons of all kinds of services to children and adults with developmental disabilities. One of those people is my son. So you can imagine why this agency, this cause is so near and dear to my heart. So I'm going to go support their event tonight. And if I see you there, please say hello. And until tomorrow, have a good night. And I hope you can get outside today and do something that's fun. All right. Remember, fun is the focus. See you tomorrow.